But remember now, Bahamians, if you do not have righteous people in charge, you are going to be badly disappointed. Your celebration would be short lived. Now, I've said to you over and over on this show, in solving a particular problem, you need righteous people to lead the way, people who will do what is right, what is in the best interest of the Bahamian people in that particular community, in that particular constituency. God says when the righteous are in authority, Bahamians, you got to give righteous people the authority. You can't keep giving it to other people who are not righteous. Do we understand how important that principle is? Proverbs 29:2. When God tells you something, that's what it is, Bahamians. It doesn't change for nobody. I was having a discussion with one of my callers yesterday, and he said, yes, you have to get in to the House of Assembly. I agree with him. But are the people who are going in, are they righteous? Yes or no? Or are they another part of another political grouping that wants power, not party, power, I should say. Sorry about that. But are not concerned about helping the people. That's what you got to look at, Bahamian. Jesus took on him all of our sins, all of our pain, all of our sorrows. I was talking to someone who had some serious health problems. And I was talking to him about how some things could be remedied. I don't know how many of us believe in the stripes of Jesus. I don't know. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to your doctor now, because I got one doctor too. But when I went to see him after I was healed, completely and totally healed. He examined me from carefully and said, Professor, you got a clean bill of health. So I left. And I had that problem that Saturday, and that very Saturday afternoon, less than 2 hours, it was gone. Just like that. Well, I think I go, listen to what God says. If any sick among you, let him call for the elders of the church. Now, some of you might have a problem with calling the elders of the church. I ain't got no problem with calling the elders of the church. I ain't nothing to do with who keeping sweetheart. If they keep sweethearts, that's their problem. I ain't nothing to do with me. The man say, call for the elders of the church. But you ain't do it. Let God take care of them. Once you follow God's instructions, you're going to get accurate and precise results. Do not take matters into your own hand. This is Open Line Friday today. We're talking about anything today. Y'all want to talk about Donald Trump? You talk about Donald Trump. Y'all want to talk about our Prime Minister? I think we got some tapes on the Prime Minister. Let us not get personal with our leaders, because some of you, sometimes you go off on a tangent. You have a right to disagree with the man, because I disagree with him too, particularly if he's not constitutionally sound. And I will say it live on air and show you the law, what they would have passed, and show you what the Constitution say about it. And it ain't constitutionally sound. How we're going anywhere? Where you think it can go? Can't go nowhere. Not because the man say you're a Bahamian makes you a Bahamian. Doesn't work that way. There are some specific things listed in the Constitution. Now, you know, some people are afraid of referendums, but you don't have no choice. Most things in the Constitution could only be changed by a referendum. I'm glad it's that way, because every time you got to come back to the people. See these heads of agreements? Hopefully we can get all the details on this one that they say they signed yesterday. We're going to try and see if we can get it, and then we'll bring it on here and discuss it in detail. Just like we do with the Constitution, just like we do with some other things that we will have. But we got to check the evidence, Bahamians. I can't rejoice over something what I know nothing about or what I've not experienced. You give a righteous man authority, and that man starts working, I could rejoice. I am guaranteed that things are going to happen. Problems will be solved. That's when you rejoice, Bahamians. They must see them problems no more. When the solutions are set in place until Christ returns, then we know we're on the right track. But you can't have the water off this morning. Then tomorrow morning it may come on. And then that afternoon is off again. I ain't solving nothing. The water must remain on until Christ comes back to him. There must be no interruption whatsoever. None. Do you know the Constitution says no man, woman, or child shall be slave or bondsman to anyone? And I hear some people talking about we got 21st century slaves in this country. Is that true? You mean to tell me there are people who have individuals who are slaves, bondsmen? And the Constitution says, no. No man, woman, or child shall ever be a slave or bondsman to anyone. That's what the man tells me. I go in with that. I don't care what nobody else say. And if they are trying to make you a slave or bondsman, then you fight against it. Don't sit back and say, woe is me. That's why you have constitutional authority in your hand. We're in the best possible position to fight because our mothers and fathers made sure of that. My mom and pa made sure of that. My grandparents before them made sure of that. So give that little pigeon there the ability to fight. I came from a fighting family, fighting for what is right, what is just, what is fair. So now I can talk about cowering. No, babies, you don't do that. No man, woman, or child shall have their lives frustrated. Now, let me tell you this. Frustrated by deprivation. You are not supposed to have one single second of frustration from July of the 10th, 1973. Right on up to now. If you're frustrated for 1 second, that's a constitutional violation. Do you know that? You people don't understand this document, you know. It came into effect July the 10th, 1973, 12 a.m. So what you're doing with frustration? Being deprived? Come on. You ain't supposed to be deprived of anything. You're not supposed to be dropping in holes in the road. What kind of crap is that? That's unconstitutional, Bahamians. Well, what you going to do about it? You just can grumble and complain. No. We have to do something about that. Then the murders. You know, we talked about murder. Was it yesterday? No, the day before. Valentino Scrooge around. He's a very insightful young man, and I got to bring him on some more because he has something to offer Bahamians. He's been through some challenges of his own, and he'll tell you that himself. But now he's busy in his community where he lives, helping to make that community a better place. But he needs you who live there to work with him, and I need the people where I live work with me, and so on. That's the way it has to be. The collective will of a people. Can we get that? The woman in Grand Bahama told me how she struggled to get one fire engine straight, and she had to pay for that because you are the sat back and didn't lift a finger to help. No government can stop you if you use Article 24.1. How are they going to stop you? Tell me. The Constitution is bigger than the government. When the government goes contrary to the Constitution, what they're doing means nothing. You could defy it. Tell them I ain't checking for you. Tell them go sit down. You checking for them when they violate the Constitution? The answer is no. You defy them Bahamians. That's what we are supposed to be doing. Say, no, we're not going along with that. We'll fight you. See how quick they'll fly and get it right. But no, you just sit back and just let them walk on you. So they say, boy, we're doing good. They're not doing good. I want to see Bahamians rise up for that which is right, that which is good, that which is beneficial, that which is reliable, dependable, responsible. But you must become righteous yourself. So let me add this now. 51% or more of you in every single constituency must become righteous in your dealings one with another. Bahamians, you got to work on that. We got some wicked people in these constituencies. And they believe they are right. One person called yesterday and he was saying some strange things. And I had to make a determination. Because Bahamians, there are some things I am not going to allow on the air, which are contrary to the Holy Scriptures and which are contrary to the Constitution. So you could forget that. Don't waste your time calling, because I'll have to stop you. It doesn't make any sense with the multitude of problems we have in this place. I'm going to sit back and hear you talk foolishness and nonsense while the country needs to hear something that can be beneficial and valuable to them. That's what talk radio is for. Not to pull the nation down. Now, you could have points of disagreement with this one or that one. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about people who talk a lot of nonsense and foolishness. And they want to spew that as if it is fact. But it's not fact. Ain't scripturally sound, it's not constitutionally sound. So why we won't fool with that? The founding fathers and mothers gave us the most valuable asset, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You got one group of fellas out there who say they want to run things. And they want to come up with something new. They say they want a republic. What kind of republic? You want a Haitian republic? You want an American republic? You want a French republic? That people know how to shoot and kill people, you know. That's what they do. Look at Haiti. That's the kind of republic you want. Look at the Dominican Republic. You want a republic like that? You want an American-style republic? Who else got a republic? Chad, Niger, and some other countries out there who have republics. You want to be like them? And when you look at each one of them, you see all kinds of problems. They are trying to experiment with democracy in those countries, particularly the African countries. There's been so much bloodshed. I heard someone was talking about the Fiji Islands, where they've had one violent overthrow after another, because they allowed foreigners to invade their land, wasn't watching the fact that you had too many foreigners in the place, gaining ground on you, and they did nothing about it. Now, we have to be careful in the Bahamas. I believe we still have time to save the place, but we got to be smart. But there are some who are trying to push you to become violent. And I say, no, we don't have to break up the place. We ain't got to burn down the House of Assembly or any such thing like that, or set fire to somebody's property. You don't have to do that. We could do better than that. We can do much better than that because we have the tools that Mommy and Daddy left for us to fix the place. So you got to burn it down. You just make certain course corrections, and the house would be stronger. That's what you have to do. We're not too big and we're not too small. Now we got to get rid of all of these people who don't belong here. And we can do that, Bahamians. We have the authority to do it. But you have some person out there who believes that they want to run this country. And at the same time, they want to keep some things that are secretive. So if they were to gain power, we know what the hell they're going to do. Because they have never told you clearly. I listened to one of them the other day. A pointed question was asked about immigration. And the particular personality did not answer the questions, even though the host of the show tried to help him out, which he ought not to have done. Let the individual speak for himself. So you have to listen carefully, Bahamians, to what people are saying. They like to call this a silly season. I won't call it a silly season. It's a time when people tell a lot of lies and hypocrisy and deceit. That's what you can get. But Bahamians, you got to be careful who you listen to, who you take information from. Because deception is now at an all-time high. Are you prepared to defeat deception? Are you prepared to defeat the avalanche of lies and hypocrisy that's going to be heaped on you between now and the next general election? You ain't seen nothing yet. Can you block it off? Can you cut through the foolishness that will engulf the country? Because the enemy is very busy. How busy are you? You know, a lot of you will always talk about what other people are doing. What are we doing to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? What are we doing? There's plenty we can do. We have the tools to save the country. The Holy Bible is one. The Constitution of the Commonwealth is two. The Constitution is our supreme law. The Holy Bible is also the supreme law of the universe. The Constitution, the supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So you got two supreme laws. And guess what? Both of them are always right. Both are always right. They are never, ever wrong. They cannot be wrong. Now you have some people who are doing foolishness and nonsense. That doesn't make it right. Because they spew a lot of nonsense and foolishness. That doesn't make it right, Bahamians. I've heard some people say some very strange things. But the Constitution allows for freedom of expression, right? It didn't say everything that they say has to be right. But they palm these things off. Now, God say you have to speak the truth. That's the difference. The Constitution gives you this freedom of expression, freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference. I ain't got no problem with that. But I told that to another talk show host. The talk show host didn't believe that. It says right in the document. But the Constitution is based on spiritual values, Holy Bible, Christian values, and the rule of law. Now, those who don't know it, you better learn it now. Because we ain't going contrary to that. I might as well tell you that right off the top. That's the foundation of the nation. You lose your foundation, you ain't got no more nation. Where do you think you're going? I heard someone on another radio station was talking about the fact of these other funny things in this country. And the particular personality was lambasting the Christians, people who believe in the Bible, people who go to church on Saturday and Sunday, who has the scripture as their final authority. And there are differences of opinion. I'm not knocking that at all. There are different degrees of understanding, and everybody, they just ain't got it right all the time, but they have to learn. Just like a lot of you still don't understand the difference between party representation and parliamentary representation. I have to work on that. You need to pray for me, because Bahamians, we got to make that clear. Because a particular caller called yesterday, and a particular personality felt that a new party could do it. But it isn't the party. It's the quality of the people you send to become parliamentarians. See, parliamentary representation is different from party representation. Because the party could send you an individual who is not righteous, who is a troublemaker, and could cause problems. So why put that person in the House of Assembly? What you doing that for? Here is what I'm going to suggest to constituents, which is also constitutional, by the way. I say nothing but ain't constitutional. Why don't the constituents have a widespread constituency rally or meeting of the minds of the people of that particular constituency to choose, to have frank and open discussion on what they expect from a parliamentarian, not from a party personality. No. I don't think we have enough discussion on what you ought to expect from a personality who sits in the House of Assembly. You ain't getting that. You don't even talk about that. But you need to talk about it. And then let us see if we can come to a consensus of opinion. You're supposed to be intelligent. Bahamian voters are supposed to be intelligent. That's what they tell me now. But you can't be intelligent. No, let me withdraw that. You can't make much sense if you're running after a particular personality who is a party personality who defies understanding the Constitution, but puts the party above the Constitution of the Commonwealth. You know that's foolishness. You know that can't wait. The party may have a constitution. The Constitution say they can have their little party. You do not have to give them the government of the Bahamas. Now, that's what I want stressed today. A group of persons forming a political party may want to run the country, but you have to deny them because they don't understand the Constitution. We've been through some who are so dense when it comes to the Constitution. We can't go through that for another 52 years. Now, when our founding fathers came to government some time ago, 1967, like I said, there's rejoicing in the street. The people were happy because they had thought that that minority government could not have been defeated. They had all kind of money, The minority government, plenty of money. They pay it on the ground. You think money does win elections all the time? Wait on this one coming up. You may get some real surprises. The money doesn't come to the voters. That's the problem. I don't know why you fellas don't understand that. Money sharing out, say they campaigning, but the money don't come to you. You may get some chicken, you may get some rum, you might get some stew fish. So what the heck is that? What you ought to have is strong parliamentary representation. And I can go deep into parliamentary representation because Bahamians, it's important that you understand what it is. You're experiencing it now. I can tell you that right off the top. You don't even know what it is. You go dashing out there because you see a particular personality with one piece of cloth on. And then you say, or someone will tell you, That's your representative. Then you go in the polls, you mark an X against the name of that particular personality who doesn't even care about you. You don't even know anything about them. You got to know these people behaviors. Is that fellow homosexual? Is she a lesbian? They might be all mixed up about sexuality. You want them kind of people representing you. They don't know whether they are male or female. They don't know right as opposed to wrong. They don't know good as opposed to evil. That's what you want. You want a sex deviant in the House of Assembly. You see all these sexual problems we got around here. Molestation of women going about their business and stopping people in their car, taking the car from them. I mean, where we going with this foolishness? You're supposed to be safe in your car. Well, at least I thought that. Is it better walking? I'd have to do some walking. I did some today. I was quite safe. Hey, a lot of people hailed me as they went by. But the thing is, Bahamians, we got to know who we're dealing with, man. I don't want no sex deviant as no representative. I can tell you that right off the top. I want a sound-minded, righteous person to represent me. You can get the same thing, but you got to fight for it, Bahamians. And it's a tough fight. So, constituents, you got to help me with this problem because it is extremely important that we rise to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We need to save our country. I had a music in the background, my producer telling me to shut up. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
260-272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM, Bahamians. This is Open Line Friday. And there's a whole lot of things we can be talking about today. We can talk about the Prime Minister today. The first tape we will have, I'm going to speak to Brother Hyler. He's on StreamYard. Brother Hyler, welcome to Express Yourself Open Line Friday on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Yes,
and good afternoon, Bahamas. There's a lot happening.
Yeah, plenty is happening.
Let's get into it. Into it.
Okay. Well, as soon as Mr. Producer has the tape ready, I don't know if he has it ready yet, but he'll give me an indication when he does. But we know something happened in Grand Bahama. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And I understood some people were rejoicing in the streets and having a good party and that sort of thing. There are also those who are not so optimistic. What have you heard, Brother Hyland?
Professor, I've heard that there were fireworks. I spoke to associates that are on the ground in Grand Bahama, not that attended the event, but, that live in the nearby community.
Yes.
So the excitement was high. They expressed that there was a high level of excitement. As we know, a very large number of government officials, I don't know if the entire cabinet, but a very large number of government officials would have attended that event.
Yes.
And we are being told that it's a heads of agreement signing, $120 million. And the person's Concord Wilshire is supposedly going to invest or find other partners to invest over $800 million. That's the promise.
That's a promise. Oh, I think my producer is ready with the clip for the prize. Oh, a caller. Oh, he's saying I have a caller on the line. Brother Hyler, just hold on a minute, please. Caller, you live on here. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson.
Hey, Papa, where you been hiding yourself?
Rachel, thanking God for life, Mr. Thompson.
Okay.
All right, and good day to your co-guest and them, Mr. Piper.
Yeah, that's Brother Hyler.
Mr. Hyler.
Hey, good day.
And good afternoon to your listeners and your producer. Mr. Thompson, I know you get a lot to talk about today, and and Mr. Hyler started the topic with Freeport. You say we can talk about the Prime Minister 2.0 some things today.
Oh yes, we'll talk
okay,
about him.
So you come out strong, man. Like that's fireballs you was throwing. 2 points you brought up. You brought up that, and I think a lot of us here agree with you. You say money is. You say at least I can paraphrase. I can say it this way: money plays a major role, but you say this time around, the money ain't gonna cut it.
No, it's not gonna cut it.
People still in need, but the money won't cut it.
The money has never benefited the average constituent.
No.
We've seen that over 52 years. So
Yeah.
What more evidence do we want?
Well, Mr. Thompson, there's a lot of people in needs, and our Prime Minister, we always recognize him as the king of handouts, the handout king. Not sounding ungrateful. I know people say, shut your blind self up, you sound like you're ungrateful. Yes, we need, and we will still accept. We'll take, but that is not the bottom line. The bottom line is about empowering the Bahamian people, not keeping them on needing you or keeping us underneath your foot. Thank you for the stove. Thank you for the fridge. Thank you for the couple of dollars. But that shouldn't demand where persons should vote. People in need, yes. Thank you for the handled Prime Minister, but it's more than just being a handled king, sir. This is the time now you're the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, to make sure the doctors, the nurses, and everybody's straight. Not just friends, family, and lovers. Mr. Thompson, one of the other things you mentioned, you say we need to ask the politicians questions when they come around, like how we supposed to all the time, but I guess we don't think it's important. Their sexual preference, I believe.
Oh, yes, you got
But Mr. Thompson, a lot of people say, Papa, y'all wrong for asking that question because
when
should. You sick and
Hold
you
on.
go to
Stop right there, Papa. Don't go nowhere.
No, sir.
I'm glad you put it that way. No, we should ask. I don't want no Anyhow, I don't want any strange personality who ain't know whether he's male or female to
Yes.
represent me. You got to be sick. They got too many psychos like that around this place, man. What are you going to put them in the House Assembly for? To pass what kind of law? To do what? To be doing some strange sexual behavior that particular person believes in and practices? You want that kind of person to make legislation for you? Give me a break, man. Go ahead, caller.
Okay. And Mr. Thompson, they said, like I was telling you, they say the question is irrelevant because when we sick and we go to the doctor, we don't ask the doctor if he gay. We just want to get our problem fixed.
The question is relevant.
I agree.
Even when you go to the doctor, if he's a strange fella, I want to do with him. I don't want nothing to do with him. Now, I know my doctor. Yeah, he ain't that big. I could talk about him. I can call his name.
Mhm.
I don't want to call his name today because
Yeah.
he's an excellent doctor. And I confide in him, and I also confide in my minister. And I know my minister ain't no funny fellow.
Okay.
Okay?
That's
So I know
excellent.
that.
So,
Now,
Mr.
if I
Thompson-
know, once I get to know them, I don't want nothing to do with them. No.
If they gay or they homosexual,
Oh,
lesbian, you
yes.
shouldn't support.
You have to know. Is this a homosexual? Is
So
this
if they tell us say they gay or they homosexual or bisexual or lesbians,
They might even be in bestiality. They might be going with animals, with cows and cat and dog
if
and
they
horse and
admit it,
rat.
so if they admit it, it definitely don't support them. Don't
You
care
can
what party they-
find out even if they don't admit it. Do you know that?
Yes.
They are. I keep telling people this is so important.
The
You can
spiritual-
find out whether they are or whether they are not. Even if they don't admit it, no problem. We can still find out what the heck you are.
So this sound like this a spiritual fight, Mr. Thompson.
It is, yes, sir. You hit the
Yeah.
nail right on the head, boy.
Yeah, this is a spiritual fight.
We are
Because the-
fighting wicked forces in high places, man.
Yes.
They've been holding us down for 52 years.
Yes.
We want to keep going this crap, man.
And they preying on the people because they know the people in need. They
They're
know you don't have
praying,
no
you
current in
see.
your house, so you
Don't-
need your current on. They know you don't
don't-
have no fridge.
don't-
They know you don't have no stove to cook on. So they prey on you and make you feel like they care about you. Mr.
You-
Thompson, one last thing. Are you
Yeah, okay.
following the story of Mr. Hyler with Puff Daddy in the United States? Because I asked that question because I wonder if this kind of stuff is happening over here where they talk about underground sex rings and human trafficking and stuff like that. And they talk about like people who with plenty money preying on other persons and stuff.
But I think I'm going to have to put it out to the general audience because someone called in yesterday, and I know that particular person called me before and told me some things that I was not aware of. And so there are people in this country who know some things,
Yes.
what I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes,
You see, I was brought up, I was so shielded by my mother and father.
yes.
Man,
They get a
You-
mafia sex ring, Mr. Thompson. A mafia sex ring. Not just in America, the people saying it right here in the Bahamas too. Rich people, people with plenty power. They offer man money to sleep with them.
I've heard that.
But y'all keep up the good work. I listen to Mr. Halle talk
Yeah,
about
okay.
Grand Bahama. I'll hang up and
Yeah,
listen.
okay.
Thanks, Mr. Thompson.
Right, thank you very much. But I don't know if you want to comment on what Papa had said, but you know, some people having some strange things happening out there. I'm not too familiar with it, but I have to get people who understand who know better than me. But Hyla, go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor, we could break it down like this. The Sean Combs or the Sean Diddy Combs case
Yes.
is very significant, very substantial, and it is reminiscent of the Peter Nygaard situation.
Okay. Well, I heard about the Peter Nygaard situation. Yes.
Okay, look at this now. We have evidence out of Mr. Nygaard's mouth that he gave major political parties money in this country.
Yes, he did say that.
It does not bring guilt to any particular party, but the influence is potentially damaging. We have photographs of sitting members of parliament
Yes.
gathered around Mr. Nygaard, not for any opening ceremony, not for any particular, we could say, legal cause, We're talking about in a casual setting,
Yes.
and this is not good. We had young Bahamian women, young girls, attending Mr. Nygaard's parties. Friends and family members would take young women out to Nygaard Key. Mr. Peter Nygaard had a retail store at the mall at Marathon. He's very powerful back in Canada, powerful in the Bahamas. I believe, he is in prison at this time, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the latest I heard about him.
Yes, mind you, he had a case here in New Providence. He
Yes.
was sentenced to 11 years in Bahamian courts, and the gentleman fled the country. He fled the country, and when he get to Canada, a case the officials were waiting on him in Canada for cases that go back 15, 20 years, his exploitation of women in his own nation. And the case, even the New York Times and the Detroit Free Press, many news outlets covered the event. The BBC
Yes.
covered the entire event. It is very dangerous to have financial tycoons associating with your political leaders, and then you see them getting their way. Thing
Yes.
like for example, land reclamation. At first, I
Okay.
believe it was denied, if I remember correctly, and there was then all of a sudden, he was allowed to extend his property out Lightfoot Key in ways that nobody else was allowed to do. One judge, again, I stand to be corrected. One judge, you could say, allowed the matter of his land dealings and extending of the land, and then a different judge who saw the matter put an injunction against Mr. Peter Nygaard, and Mr. Nygaard never obeyed the court order. I have to be careful how I said that, but it was reported for quite some time that he simply ignored the law. That's the danger of having powerful persons that potentially abuse their power by abusing other individuals.
Okay.
So it's a very serious matter, and we handle it very poorly, Professor. If I may say so, we handle it very poorly. Individuals, families made complaints related to Mr. Nygaard, and it seemed to be no justice. It fell on deaf ears, and he was considered to maybe influencing our police force, our politicians, and we don't know who else. But he seemed
Okay.
untouchable.
Okay.
That's in the case of Mr. Nygaard.
Right.
Mr. Combs traveled to the Bahamas. He is in and out of the Bahamas. I believe when the federal agents, uh, before they arrested him, there was one news story at least that I heard that he said he was just about to make a trip to the Bahamas.
Okay.
You know, and information coming out in that court case is that he conducted his activities in many different places, not just at his home.
Okay.
So,
But I have a call on the line. I also got Brother Cartwright in the studio. I'm going to bring him on shortly. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor. Good
Yes,
afternoon,
sir.
yes. Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
Bahamas. Professor, my fellow my gentleman who was go to the court, he in house here.
Yeah, he's in.
Oh, okay.
He's
Professor,
right here.
listen,
brother.
I know the case very well. I don't even like to bring it up because, Professor, when we start studying and we go on the next side say, Yagi the mother said, Yagi all Professor, the man on the next side, he played safe. He get both parties, they pocket. Right?
Yes.
He's been something else now. I thought we broke, me getting in trap because we broke. But you all got money. The next man on the next side say, listen, I give that one,
Give
I
each
give this one.
Give the two of
Allegedly.
them.
Yeah,
He say give
allegedly.
the two of them. Yeah.
But I so ashamed. He said allegedly. I call it allegedly. I ain't getting that. Professor, let me bring this out. Professor, listen here. We had a place to go. The adults to learn how to read, man. We keep it quiet. We didn't let no one know where it is. But right there by Queen College, I think I'm upstairs there. Go there and learn how to read. And you know why we keep it quiet? Everybody was ashamed. What you shame about? I look at I graduate one day. I just open the Constitution and I look at the Constitution and I look at it. I see page 1 and 7, page 7-1, where they say nobody should be hiding flag. People driving flag all over the place, and these educated people here see that. Man, you're so hiding this place, man. I just kept when they graduated and I open the thing and I look at it. And imagine these big educated ministers. You right now all about with your flag and country. You know that's against the law and the Constitution. So what you all ashamed about? Perhaps I can leave it right there. I can say no more.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. But the Cartwright is right here. But the Cartwright. Oh, we have another call. He has the clip.
Yes. Go to the clip,
Okay,
please.
let's go to the clip before we bring Brother Cartwright on.
At the heart of this redevelopment, the Grand Locaine redevelopment is very ambitious, and rightly so. At the heart of this redevelopment is an integrated resort village that will create jobs, restore confidence, and give Grand Bahama the momentum it deserves. That means 3 new hotel buildings, a full-scale cruise resort, a revitalized 25,000 square foot casino, a Greg Norman designed golf course, over-the-water cabanas, beach clubs, family attractions, water parks, retail spaces, restaurants, music venues, and a 16-slip mega yacht marina. This is no small undertaking. This is an investment of $827 million and perhaps much more. The kind of scale that has the power to shift the local economy, create opportunity at every level, and change lives for the better. More than 1,300 jobs will be created during the construction, and about 1,750 permanent jobs when the development is fully up and running.
Bahamians, and I want people of Grand Bahama to call in today because Grand Bahama, you need to analyze just what the Prime Minister said, you know. Is he being upfront and honest with us when you talk about these jobs? Because we keep hearing about jobs. I ain't nothing about no ownership of anything. And the kind of development is going there. Will Bahamians be designing anything there? Or all of that would be done by the foreigner? But Cartwright, let's hear what you have to say on what the Prime Minister said.
Professor, you know where my stance is when it comes to sale of land in the Bahamas.
Exactly.
And I would like to say to all the Global 99.5 FM audience, thank you, Professor, Brother Hyler, and our great producer. The Bahamians, we have to now take a serious look at what's going on in our nation. Bahamians are now finding it very hard to afford homes. And most of that is because governments past and present still believes in selling land. And by doing that to non-Bahamians, it drives the price of land through the roof.
Yes.
So I've asked a few members of parliament over and over, when will I see somebody in that parliament with the nerve to repeal the Removable Property Act, which deals with foreigners acquiring land in the Bahamas? Because here's the thing, people. Once a man owns land, and we already know that land is wealth.
That's right.
So if the government was serious about trying to make money, see, that's a one-time collection they got off of that land. You don't even know what all the backdoor trappings that they have in place.
That's true.
So I would have figured that they would have learned and said, you know what? We don't agree with former Prime Minister Ingram with selling of land. Because if you keep selling land, there'll be no space for Bahamians. Then Bahamians would be like our brothers down south, will have to pick on a boat or plane and leave, because if you can't afford something, if you notice carefully, in this country, we're seeing things that we never used to see happen before in this country. You notice that suicide, stress is a high level in this country.
Very much so,
We
yeah.
never used to have that problem because why? Because
No.
Bahamians were ownership. We've been basically land has been taken from us like the Americans took the land from the Native Indians.
Native Indians, yes.
And we are being pushed out to the side where that non-Bahamians are now having more say when it comes to decision making. And I always say that I do not believe in selling land. So Lyndon always said lease. The late Port Landley would say, yes, lease. And then when you then lease the land, if you don't want to renew your lease, then see if you can take the building and carry it with you.
Exactly.
And so we have now gone from a group of parliamentarians are very short-sighted, not innovative in trying to create other ideas how to make money for the Bahamian public, because that is their job. And so when I hear him talk about the hotel and all these other things, I didn't hear him say anything about the main thing that basically gets people in and out of Freeport. A good, feasible, upgraded airport.
Yes.
They talk about the buildings, the hotels, and everything, but they're talking about Bahamians just move around, got to move out of that place every other day. So what's about the airport? I hear you talk about that. You have many of these family islands that complain about airports. So you worried about Grand Bahama and those, and mainly Freeport. You ain't saying you call it Grand Bahama, but that is basically Freeport you're speaking about, because that's where Alukai is, and everything else around there is happening in the city of Freeport. What about the outside of Freeport? It's like night and day. You got all of this glitz and glamour in Freeport, but in the outside, it's dull, like a dull butter knife. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about these things, and I always tell them, I said, we keep talking about jobs. And like you're right, but we don't even mention ownership.
No, nothing.
I would have figured now that anyone who comes into this country to invest, the government of the Bahamas would be wise enough to say, you know what? If you can be here 5-10 years, we want to have a stake into this entity you have.
That's right.
And up front, I don't think that we should allow anyone now coming into this country now without putting up an equity in a trust, so that if your project doesn't live up to expectation, we will not have to be running around looking for money with a hand out to the world to help us pay our own citizens. So that day I would say to the government, make anybody who comes in this country lease land and you put up something in trust, so that if your ideology or your business venture doesn't work out, you're not going to leave the Bahamian people stuck holding a bag where people's going to be taking shots at us and saying, oh, but we owe them money and this stuff. So yes. That's where I'm at now, because I'm frustrated and tired of saying all they tell us that all we good for is cleaning bathrooms and making beds, because that's all that is normally be.
Yes.
We don't hear them talking about, 20% of your management team should be Bahamian, or 15 is supposed to be at another level. You want to empower your people. I always told people that we might not like all the things that Mr. Kirshner did, but Mr. Kirshner did something that was different than all the people who came in this country with hotels. We've got people now who used to work for him still over there in Saudi Arabia and other parts of the world, still training people about hospitality. He saw the vision. That's why that became a high quality equity what he had. But even still, we should have also leased the land to him also. So I'm not just getting him off and stuff. And then speaking to what Brother Hyde was talking about, we have to now take a serious look at our Permanent Resident Act and see how we're going to move forward addressing that.
I agree.
Whether it's with those who were born here and are non-Bahamians, or those who came here with a bag full of money, or potentially so-called bag of money. Because I always tell people, we now turn to people like Mr. Nygaard, and now tell it to be that he was a predator.
Yes.
And because he had money, you give him the royal treatment. And we have people here in the country who were born here but not meet the qualifications. But they also are frustrated. And then what we do to make it worse, to keep them calm, we just hand them out a document which we know is false.
Okay.
So if you're going to do something right, then you address it. I would like to see the parliamentarians seriously look at addressing our immigration problem and look at how we deal with permanent residents.
Yes.
And also repeal that act by Mr. Ingram.
No, that has to be repealed.
We keep dancing around it and stuff because you look at it, everywhere you turn in the Bahamas where foreigners owns property, they believe that they have the right to tell you as a citizen, you cannot come on my land. Some will tell you. They block off beaches in the country. We've never had to go
that
through.
law about beaches should be very crystal clear.
Yes, and I said to anyone who comes into this country, it is up to the government of the Bahamas to extend them. This is what our Constitution requires, and I ask of you. Now, if you can't abide by any of these rules, then don't come.
That's right.
But we only look at, I always tell them, we acting, and I hate to use this way, but our government acts like they Joneses. They like Joneses because they're begging for investors, and then when investors come, they'll do anything just to get that couple of dollars. They're not doing anything to help us in our education, not in our medical, not in our utilities. These are the things that a government should be concentrating on and upgrading and uplifting the mindset of the Bahamian people.
I think we're going to have to go to break. I hear the music in the background. This is Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. This is Friday Express Yourself. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. We will be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Whether you're shopping for Mother's Day, Father's Day, back to school, or any occasion for that matter, you are sure to find exactly what you're looking for at the Brass and Leather Shops. Great products like handbags, wallets, backpacks, luggage, belts, shoes, and more are awaiting you. Brand names at the best quality and reasonable prices. Land, Rioni, Kipling, Guess, Travel Light, Herschel, and more. Shop any of our locations. Downtown Charlotte Street, Mall at Marathon, and also the Luggage Store at Palmdale. Be sure to shop Brass and Leather Shops. You'll be glad you
did. The Perfume Bar has been sipping on designer fragrances, skincare, and cosmetics for over 40 years. We house a wide selection of designer brands such as Chanel, Dior, Gucci, Versace, and so much more. For your shopping convenience, visit any of our locations: Bay Street, Palmdale, Marathon Mall, and our newest location out west in the Old Fort Town Center. Come on in and spray a little happiness only at the Perfume Bar.
Hey, Shoe Depot has what you and your wallet need. They are stuffed with stylish and exciting footwear, handbags, wallets, and accessories for all occasions. Shoes for the professional, casual, cute and glitzy, skid resistant, and ultra comfortable for those long work days. Shoe Depot has got you. Oh, and be sure to join our Shoe Depot Rewards Club for extra savings and earn points for special benefits. Visit either of our two locations, Golden Gates Plaza or the Palmdale Plaza. At Shoe Depot, you'll find the best selection of the best styles and at the best prices.
Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center has launched their online auction.
The line to open 326-0271, 326-0272-813-0271. This is open line Friday and Famous. There are just so many things in front of me. I don't even know where to start. Brother Hyler, you there? Brother Hyler? I'm not hearing Brother Hyler.
Professor.
Brother Hyler, you there? Okay, we probably muted. Brother Hyler, you there?
I'm here now, Professor.
Oh, okay, all right, because I wasn't hearing you at first. Now, we wanted to bring you in because we're going to play a tape from the president of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and he's saying some things. I'm just flabbergasted, but when the producer is ready to play it, he's going to give me an indication. I'm going to let you hear that, Brother Cartwright. We heard it before it went on. But Mr. Producer, you ready for it now? Okay, if you have it ready, Mr. Producer, put it on right now, please.
Mm-hmm.
This is a revival. This right here is more than a transaction. This is a resurrection. This is a revival. This is a return to the promise of Freeport and Grand Bahama. This hotel property once served as an economic beacon, a hub of jobs, culture, and community before the cruel winds of Hurricane Matthew brought it to a standstill in 2016. But hear me now. What was broken is being rebuilt. What was closed is being reopened. What was lost is being redeemed. This is not just a milestone. It was a marathon. And now we declare that the race was not in vain. As my friend Minister Ginger Moxie would say, today is part of a new day.
Bahamians, you heard what the president of the Port Authority said. We're not going to forget what was being said before, how this big fight between the government and the Port Authority. Has that been settled now? Hundreds of millions of dollars the government was saying the port owed them. What is he talking about? Brother Hyler, let you comment on this, because Grand Bahama, I need you to help me out with this now, because you were right there. You see what is happening, and you heard what the president say. And this is totally different from what we were getting from the people of Freeport some time ago, because we got the information, we got the evidence, what was going on back then. All of a sudden now you're telling me everything is hunky-dory, no problems, everything is solved. This is a resurrection. Does he understand what resurrection means? Brother Hyler, go ahead, please.
Professor, I take offense at a very high level to those statements. Notwithstanding that I know Mr. Ian Roll personally. This is the first time I'm calling his name. We have a personal rapport and we school together. I just want to put that on the record.
Okay.
Now, putting that aside, addressing the leader of the Port Authority, when we put it like that, I take offense to revival. Revival only coming from one place. Only coming from one place. And it's not from the Port Authority, and it's not from the Bahamian government, and it's definitely not from Concord, Wilshire, or whatever the company name is.
Yes.
I understand the reference. This is a resurrection. I understand.
Does he know what a resurrection is? Does he understand that?
Man, Professor.
What kind of time is he using now?
You see, this is why I take offense to it. Because you'll cause people to look at this situation for the resurrection. The resurrection only comes from one place.
Okay.
But let me get straight to it, Professor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cartwright, I know you're there in the studio also.
Yeah, but Cartwright,
listen to me carefully. Overnight, I need everybody to understand this carefully. The company
is offline. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Professor.
Let's bring on Brother Cartwright. Yeah, Cartwright, go ahead.
When I hear Mr. Rolls from the Port Authority, right?
Yes.
And we all must remember now, the minister of Grand Bahama, Ms. Ginger Moxie, was a part of his team.
Yes.
Before she got into politics. So it seems to me that the Port Authority is already now showing their hand.
Yes, they are.
Who they are basically now supporting in this election.
But what happened to the big money that the government had this big fight with the port?
Well,
hundreds of millions of dollars. The prime minister say they owed them.
They did say politics strange, bad fellows.
Strange, bad fellows, yes.
And when you look at all of this, right, you hear, if you notice, you hear the excitement in Mr. Roll.
Yes.
You hear the excitement in the prime minister.
Exactly.
And it's like they're at a political rally. But if you ask the average person in Grand Bahama, are they feeling it? And all they say, 1,700 jobs.
1,750.
Yeah, fixed permanent
jobs.
jobs.
Permanent jobs, yeah, that's what you said.
And I'm like, that's how you look at your people? You now trying to revive your economy. When you look around the world, you see other leaders are saying, no, anything in my country, we can have a part of it.
Yes.
Any money to be made in our country, we can get a piece of it. We ain't gonna take, you're not gonna take $10 and give me 25 cents. If it's anything, you can give me at least $5 and you keep 5.
Or you can give me 7 and then keep 3.
If you do, then you put whatever you have, we can set aside for trust. So if this goes bad, we have that, but you still pay us. And that's how we got it. We have to renegotiate from a power.
We have to, yes.
Strength.
Yes.
We're still negotiating as beggars.
Beggars, yes.
And the port has the port is gonna make their money because all of these, I keep telling people, all of these ventures, it's happening where? In the port.
In the port area, yes.
So the port will be doing the job of the government, which I keep trying to say to members of the parliament. All they have to do basically is say, look, the people of the Bahamas did not elect you as an official. When this agreement was signed back in the day in its original state,
yes,
we were just coming into self-governance.
That's right.
We have now been in governance of an independent nation now 50 plus years.
50 plus years.
We would prefer, if you want to still be here, you now would have to basically do like everyone else. You could be a facilitator, just like we got the banks and everyone else now collects. You can pay your light bill on them stuff. Yes. But we would pay you for collecting fees for us. But the bulk of that money will go into the public treasury until we decide, and from the parliament, that we can now do more of a local constituency involvement.
Yes.
Until then, because everything still goes to the consolidated fund.
That is correct.
That would have been a good move for somebody in parliament to now look at it and say, you know what? Freeport or that sector with those seats can now say, you know what? We can now look at this and become strategically how we can now involve ourselves into the governance,
yes,
the operations, and we can now take care of our island. So imagine now, I think they got 5 or 7 seats in Grand Bahama.
5.
Imagine if each one of those constituencies now had control over their destiny.
Yes.
You know what that would do to the port? The port would become a worker.
That's right.
They would make more money in that way than basically what this one now. I think we got a call online.
No, we do. We do have a caller. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Professor. How are you?
Hey, I was waiting for your call.
Okay, well, yeah, you and I are going to have a real conversation today.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to start off with the show yesterday, Steve McKinney's show.
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned earlier about this personality who was on the show.
Yes.
And he was asked a question in reference to immigration.
That is correct.
And he wouldn't say what he'll do.
He did not say plainly to the Bahamian people what course of action he would take.
Now, I want to say this, Professor. You've been around politics for a very long time. And you know that persons that are running in reference, especially in immigration.
Yes, ma'am.
You haven't heard the PRB even address immigration.
No, that is true.
You haven't heard the FNM address immigration.
Yes, ma'am.
But Mr. Bain is trying to address immigration.
Yes.
Now, you know, a subject like immigration, you can't come out and say everything that you're going to do if you were to get into office.
Granted, okay.
Know that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, another thing that he said, and I want to know if you agree with it. because one of the things he said in reference to investment in the country, and I'm thinking Mr. Cartwright heard the same thing because he just uttered the same words. He said that anybody coming into our country to make billions of dollars should be made to offer, I guess, like shares, or the Bahamian people are supposed to be invested in that company.
The Bahamian people already have an investment.
No, but did you hear him say that funds from that particular whatever entity it is should be going into our treasury? They should be made to pay so much money to the investment fund because they're coming to our country and making a whole lot of money on the backs of Bahamians, and only giving Bahamians jobs.
Yes, like
Have
what's
you
happening
ever
right
heard
now.
any other party say that?
No, I haven't. No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I am from Grand Bahama. I was born in West End, Grand Bahama, capital
Yes, ma'am.
of Grand Bahama. And I want to tell the Prime Minister, don't come jumping up and like on in our faces, but celebration. Come talk to us, as he say, this project is supposed to be done in 2 to 3 years. Come talk to us when the hotel is opening. We're tired of groundbreakings. We're tired of properties being pushed down.
Yes.
Then the weeds grow up on
Right
it,
up again,
and then you
yes.
come push it down again, and you cut ribbon on the same places 3 and 4 times.
Yes, ma'am.
And if Grand Bahamians, I would say to them, Miss Ginger Moxie, we would be a fool in Grand Bahama to vote in Ginger Moxie. She hasn't done anything for Grand Bahama.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would say, in reference to the PLP and the FNM, nothing has been done in Grand Bahama. I was born here. I live here. And there's nothing to celebrate on the island of Grand Bahama. And the only person who is speaking out, even Mr. Bain mentioned all of these Chinese that are coming over the hill.
Yes, he did mention that.
And
yes.
buying up all of the businesses.
That's correct.
Owning everything, applying for one license and selling 5 and 6 different things in the same
That's
establishment.
correct, yes.
You haven't heard PLP address that, or
No, they haven't.
FNM.
No, they haven't. Yes,
So
ma'am.
I
You're
would
correct.
like to say, as far as I can see, the only person that's fighting for or even talking to that we can understand is Mr. Bain, educating the Bahamian people.
Yes, ma'am.
I must say to you as well, I have learned a lot by listening to you, Mr. Cartwright, and Mr. Hyler, especially in reference to our Constitution.
Yes, ma'am.
But we have had enough of what we have had in the past. We are prepared now to try something different.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to disagree with what you said about those other things that he said, because I heard all of that.
Okay.
What I am concerned about is I heard him made some statements about governance, where he seems to want, because I heard someone address him as Mr. President.
Mm-hmm.
All right? It doesn't seem as if he is interested in utilizing the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I am getting the impression from what I'm hearing from him that he wants a republic. I don't know what kind of republic he wants, but I'll say this. Do we want a republic like Haiti, or one like the United States, or one like what's in the Gaza Strip? We got all kind of funny republics around here.
Mr. Thompson, nobody in their right mind would want what Haiti has or any of those other countries.
Yeah, but
we
ma'am,
want what the Bahamian, what the Bahamas is.
yeah, but I am not getting from him what the Constitution says. I don't get a clear understanding from him what the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas says.
Or PLP?
Pardon?
Are you hearing anything else from any other person that's trying to run for office?
Listen.
PLP
The
or
point is this. The point is this, right? We've had political parties coming on the scene, and I'm not against political parties, But what I'm saying is there is your constitution, which is your supreme law. And I haven't heard one single thing from any
Did
of
you
these
not hear
political
him
parties.
talk about the Constitution yesterday and how it addressed our country in reference to our land and immigration?
I would like to hear.
Did him talk about that?
I haven't heard him say anything about the Constitution of the Commonwealth.
Well, he spoke about the Constitution yesterday and all of the laws that we have in place already according to our Constitution.
Brother
and
Cartwright.
if coming to government, they will enforce
Brother
our
Cartwright.
Constitution.
I think
was one of the things that he said yesterday.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, maybe I missed that. But Brother Cartwright, see if you could speak to the lady. On
Okay, here's the thing that I always say to Bahamians.
Mm-hmm.
Our Constitution has 134 to 35 articles.
Yes, I've heard you
See,
say
when
that.
you speak to me about the Constitution, I call it articles. I don't want you to tell me, well, the Constitution. No, tell me which article you reference to and then explain it to me. What has happened in the past is that since the days of Sir Lyndon and that Parliament of 39 back in 73, we've only had a sprinkle, not even a sprinkle, a spray of persons who know or understands the Constitution. You know, I always say to people, the PLP, and I remember saying this to Mr. Ingram on a Saturday at the Long Island Fair. And I said to him, and I watched his facial reaction, I said to him, I said, when you left office and moved away from the party, the manual that you used and understood, that you seem to know about the Constitution and understands governance, you look like you put that in your briefcase and left. You didn't pass it on, no knowledge to those who came behind you in your party. Then I look at the PLP the
But
same
Mr.
way.
Cartwright, all of we have had before have done that.
No, but what I'm
so
saying,
we can't take this the stick of the past to beat the ones who are
no.
trying to get there
Here's
now,
what I'm saying.
right?
If you can't talk to me about this, see, I don't argue with parties. Parties are the ones who runs to get into Parliament. See, now once you sit in that building called the Parliament, you're not a party.
Different color.
Your job is to come
I agree with you.
and do that. And say, now tell me this. Show me in the Constitution where it says F&M, PLP, or COI government. It doesn't. It says the government of the Bahamas.
Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
I agree with that totally.
And here's where I go, where I differ from everyone else. I told an MP Wednesday, I said, you know, he said to me, he said, you know, I wonder where Mr. Lewis came with this Billy table. I said, it's there in the Constitution, my brother. Any member from the Senate or this House. It didn't say it's party, you know. It says who sits in the Senate or the House,
in the House of Assembly,
can table a bill and it has to be debated. I said, I appreciate what he did. I said, I would like to see more coming from either government on the government side or from the
All
Senate.
right, Mr. Cartwright, just before I go, I would like to say to Mr. Thompson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Thompson, I would suggest and I would like, because I listen to your show every day and it's very
Yes, you do.
informative in
Yes,
reference
ma'am.
to our Constitution, but I'd like to make an offer to you. Why don't you invite Mr. Bain on your show?
No, he
so
can
he
call
can
in.
come and
Stop
speak
right there.
clearly
Stop right
to the
there, caller.
Bahamian people,
Caller.
things that you feel that you may not have heard from
Caller,
him.
listen to me. He can call in.
He
That's
can
as
call,
far
but
as
I'm
I
saying
will
to
go
have
with
him be
that.
a guest on your show.
No, he
Would you
can
do
call
that?
in. Did you hear what I just said? I know why I said that. He can call into the show just like everybody else. We would talk to him. We would communicate with him. He's never done that. When I listen to him, I am looking to see whether that particular party is constitutionally sound, yes or no. Because you can't give me no wide, broad statements like that. Let's get right down to the nitty-gritty, because the government of the Bahamas has been violating this Constitution for 52 years. We don't need
You
no
have
more of
no
that
arguments
foolishness.
there. And I wish to thank you very much, and I will continue to listen to
Well,
the
thank
show.
you. Thank you very much. Brother Cartwright, go ahead.
Yes, I think everyone objects to, right? Because I remember sitting down and I spoke with him the other day, and I was saying to him, I said to a member of his party, I said, do you know that the Constitution of the Bahamas doesn't refer to island states?
No, it doesn't.
He said, well, they said, oh yeah, you could. I said, no.
No.
I said, to go down that road, you would have to do many drastic changes to our Constitution.
Of course he would
And
have
once
to.
you do that, You weaken the Constitution of the Bahamas. The person said, oh, but you could create a new constitution.
Now, wait a minute now.
So I said to them, I said, hold on. To even make that statement, I said to them, I said,
foolish.
You don't know what you'll be doing. You'll be
don't know what
opening
you're
up
getting
this
into.
country to all
kind of trouble.
Because it only takes for one. Because I said to them, I said, a republic, if you understand the word republic.
He needs to tell us what is republic.
A republic, all republics, and I always tell people, all types of governance, they're similar. We always say there's this template. Yes, there's this template. A republic style of governance goes back to Poland, France, United States, Haiti, all those countries, Dominican Republic, all of those, they're republics. And the one thing they all have in common, the person who's the president makes decisions.
Yeah.
The citizens only have one decision, vote, and that's it.
And that's not good.
And that is not good for democracy.
No, it isn't.
And so when I look at this, I say, listen, this Constitution, and here's why I laugh and smile at it all the time. 99% of the Bahamian public never read their own Constitution.
No, they haven't.
And what makes it worse, 99.9% of our parliamentarians don't know the Constitution. So when they go to the public, they cannot explain the Constitution. And so when the public asks them, they will pass on some false statement, and then people just buy it up and just say, oh, well, you know what he's doing. He's a
No, but he doesn't.
But he don't. And so when I say to people, I quote articles. And I always tell them, when I quote articles, I say, go and ask any former or senior politician who knows the Constitution. I said, Mr. Cartwright says so-and-so, but the article and the person, you watch their reaction.
Yes.
And I always tell people that I do not argue about philosophies or political
parties. That's not our call.
My goal is to have the best 39 members who is going to take this country from point A to point B, and then when they move off the scene, another one comes along and build. That's how country grows.
And you build it on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I believe, Mr. Bruce, we have a call on the line. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Professor. And
yes.
Your guest.
Brother Cartwright.
Yes, Mr. Cartwright.
I know we got Brother Hilo on. I got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I agree with you. I think Mr. Bain should address the Constitution. I think he's a good guy. Yes,
he means well, you know.
Oh yeah, he
but see,
well.
call him meaning well doesn't amount to a hell of a beat.
Yes,
okay. But the point is, if the people don't know the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, we got another 52 years of crap. Okay?
Yeah, but
we don't need that.
Yes, but I know. But I'm saying to you that I will perhaps I don't know him all as well, but I will address him on that and to make sure that he becomes constitutionally sound.
Okay, now that would be good.
He will address the matter. But I would say now, but what I want to know too, what's the alternative? I mean, the other guys, they would work.
But caller, let me answer you this way, because this keeps coming up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People do not understand the difference between party representation and parliamentary representation. There's a big gap. You can have your political party, but you don't have to have the government of the Bahamas. There's the difference. Now, the thing is, there's nothing in a particular constituency, if the people are serious, them getting together to choose one of their own to send to the House of Assembly. That's an option that's wide open. But you don't have constituents really serious on the ground searching for the right person to send to the House of Assembly. You know what they do? They sit back and wait for political personality to come on the scene, pick somebody from somewhere, bang, put them in that constituency. That's the man you to vote for. That's utter nonsense and foolishness.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm gonna put the blame on the Bahamian electorate.
Well, okay, you can do that.
But
the Bahamian electorate needs to understand the power that they have in their hand.
Exactly.
That is the problem that we have in this country, because they've been listening to political personalities who have been misleading and deceiving them for 52 years plus.
Yes, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. But I think we got to move forward. And, you know, over the years, we haven't had, like you say, none of the parties really addressed the Constitution.
No, they don't.
Or,
but Carl, all you got to do, you could go all the way back to 1956. Look at every single thing political parties have put out and see if you see anything, especially from July the 10th, 1973, anything in their manifesto, anything in their plan, whatever crap they got out there. See if you see anything in there about the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas or anything about the Holy Bible. It's not there.
I've been around a little while myself, but I can say during the Pinland era, the beginning of the Pinland era,
The beginning of it, yeah.
they might not have been constitutionally sound totally or collectively, what have you, but they were doing some really good things.
No, I agree with you.
That time,
I agree with you. The record is there. The record shows
the
it.
record shows itself. So,
Yes, it does.
things like
Yes.
national insurance and all these things was implemented way back.
Yes, they were.
So we haven't done nothing.
We haven't
We
done
have
nothing
not-
to improve on it.
Caller, I would put it like this: we have not built on the
On it.
foundation.
We haven't built on the
No,
foundation.
we haven't built on the foundation.
And
No, we
you know
haven't.
something, caller?
Precisely.
I would say this. You see that same place we call the Parliament. Do you realize that in that building, they've got the section for the opposition downstairs and you have the section for the government? And inside those two rooms, there are volumes of articles, bills that's been passed over the years since we became an independent nation
Yeah.
and even leading up to it. Do you realize that 99.9% of the membership of our parliament never took a book out of that, sit down and read it?
I believe you. I believe you.
Like I said, I heard a
We got
member
covered.
of the parliament said to me the other day, and I asked him, I said, I said, man, I was waiting to hear Mr. Lewis' speech, his table to the bill.
Yes.
And he said to me, man, he gave me that. That ain't getting nowhere. So I said to him, do you know the article that is referring to it? No. I said, read Article 69, 59. What? I said, read it.
He should be telling you that.
Read Article 59.
And you tell him
Section
to
1,
read
yeah.
it. He don't even know the article.
I said, read it, and then you'll see why. And I said, what he's doing is going to hopefully make the rest of you guys in this parliament wake up and do your job.
I hope it does.
And he said, boy, he walked away. And I just looked at him and I smiled. I said, boy, we got this wasting teaching kindergarten kids.
He's wasting that, yes.
Yeah. But, I'm glad that Professor, I think somebody alluded to it earlier, that Professor, listening to Professor over the last year or two, we've been educated a lot. I mean, I've learned a lot of stuff.
Well, thank you.
And I really learned a lot of stuff. And I think Bahamians need to do the same. A lot of things are happening in the country, and yet, as Bahamians, we just sit by, stand by,
And let it happen.
Let it happen. We
Exactly.
don't
Well, we
use
gotta
our
stop
voices. We have a right. We have a right to protest.
Yes, we
and to
do.
demonstrate. Once you know your rights, but
Yeah.
be afraid to do it because of a little job that we have. We feel that you're going to be victimized. They're the kind of things what we have to get out of our system.
Right. Caller,
We have to
I have
find
to
a
go to
way.
break because my producer's being very patient with me.
Yeah. One more. I know that Bahama Air is making 3 trips.
You could hold on if you want to,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll hold on.
okay, yeah, because I have to go to break. My producer is being very patient with me. This is Professor Sidney Magado, Walter Thompson on Express Yourself on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. This is Open Line Friday. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
And when they come back, they load it. When I say loaded, I mean I could send you a photo of
No, I
the
know.
airport
I know.
where the whole that area is. I mean loaded.
I know.
Send that to right here to the Global Radio.
I can send that picture to you. I mean, I am trying to understand why. I mean, as much as we've been talking about the situation, crisis situation that
In Haiti.
we're faced with, you tell me that we can do that, bring all of these people here coming into this country, and when it's time for departure, trust me, tell me how many you see going back to Haiti.
That's a good question.
I mean, we got some serious problem, Mr. Cartwright and Professor.
Yes.
This is really serious, and I don't know what to think, what to do, because
my brother,
this is getting worse. And right now, almost every place that you go on the island, I'm in Grand Bahama. I'm calling from Grand Bahama right now.
Yes, sir.
Every place that you go, you find we kind of outnumbered almost, just basically outnumbered. I mean, I wouldn't talk if you go into Abaco.
Yeah. My brother, you know what's so sad?
80 to 85% of the students in the schools in Abaco are not Bahamians.
You know, so sad, my brother, is that we have such weak.
Okay, caller, thank you for your contribution. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brother Hyla. I mean,
I'll take the next caller. You got another caller?
No, we have another caller.
Yeah.
Okay. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, gents. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Okay, yeah.
Awesome. This is Lincoln Bain.
Yes, how you doing, Master Bain?
I am awesome. You know, I was told that you were discussing me on your show today. I would just say to you guys that when I was running a talk show, I wouldn't tell you what to do. When I wanted to know what a politician was thinking, or I wanted to know about what he was talking about, I would call him on the show and interview him. I would give him 2 hours and
Caller,
grill him.
let's stop right there. Stop. Put him on hold. Put him on hold. I am not going to take that line. I don't appreciate that. He's running a political party. I'm not running any political party. I am not going to get into that. If he is interested in calling in as he did just now, fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I am not in any way going to have him on the show as he is trying to say he should run it. But I'm saying he can call and he can make his points. I observe and watch what's going on. I don't know what his republic is all about. But I haven't heard him explain anything in the Constitution, the articles of the Constitution as it relates to governance in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. He's saying he wants a republic. The Constitution doesn't speak to that. The Constitution talks about constituencies. The Constitution talks about how we ought to run the country. But it would appear as if, from what I'm hearing from that particular grouping, is that they want something totally different. Bring the caller back up, please. Caller, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, that's just my opinion. I'm not telling you.
No, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not knocking you for your opinion.
Yeah. And so, just so you know, like I said, I'm available anytime you want me to come on your show, but I'm here now and you can ask me whatever question you want to. But I will state to you that I am very versed in the Constitution. I studied constitutional law at Buckingham University in England, and I've been fighting for the people, not just talking this, I've been fighting for the people for almost 25 years now. And all of the battles that we have fought, if I did not know my constitutional rights and that of the people, we would not be where we are today. I just want you to understand that. I know the Constitution, and when I ran my radio shows, I spent days, I dedicated days to educating the public about their constitutional rights, even putting this information on websites. In fact, our website now has constitutional rights on there. And so, like I said, the problem with this country is the PLP and FNM. And we are regular citizens that decided that we've had enough. And while we welcome...
Caller, could I intervene there?
Yes, please.
The Constitution allows for political parties. The real problem, Mr. Bain, is this. Personalities who are elected to run the affairs of this country are not constitutionally sound. Do you understand what that means? You can have your party, but you don't have to have the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's what people don't seem to understand.
Yes, I appreciate that, but I'm not here to judge what anyone else knows. I'm not going to speak for Brave Davis or Michael Pintar
No, I'm not
or
asking you to
Minette.
speak for them.
And I'm just telling you. Just let me express myself. I'm
Okay.
not going to speak to say that they know the Constitution or not. I'm not going to be arrogant to talk about what anyone else knows or doesn't know.
But Brother Bain,
So-
Brother Bain, stop right there. The point is, you can see from what a government is doing whether they're constitutionally sound, yes or no. We have hardcore evidence to prove it.
I think that they are constitutionally sound, but they are corrupt. They are ignoring the Constitution. Your Constitution, we have all the laws on the books that we need for immigration, for example, but they are breaking the laws or ignoring the laws when it suits their purpose. All right? We have the laws on the books. It is illegal to come here without coming to a port. It is illegal to hire an illegal immigrant. It is illegal to harbor an illegal immigrant. The laws are on the books, but they are ignoring the laws. They are doing what they want. So it's not that they don't know the law, They are taking advantage of the law because they know it and the public doesn't know it. That's why we make the effort to educate the public when we can and also to fight them. That is how we went and had a protest at the office of the Prime Minister and told him these things need to stop now. And he followed what we said. We told him that Keith Bell has to be removed or fired, and he followed what we said. We caused them to stop work permits from Haiti and stop flights from Haiti because of what was going on. It's because we know and understand the Constitution. We just tabled a bill because we understand the Constitution. It's the second bill that we have tabled. We know where this bill can go or can't go, but we are putting it to them so that the public can see whether this matter is important or not. And so we should not judge the other people's constitutional knowledge, because normally if you go on a show, you have a short amount of time. You can't talk about all of the Constitution in a short period of
Mr.
time
Bain.
before they hang up the phone on you.
Mr. Bain,
believe, one more thing, we believe that our island states and city government is sound. I've explained that over and over how it's going to work. We don't need a referendum for that. We already have laws that can be amended to do island states and city government.
Which laws
the
can be
law
amended?
for local government can be amended to get island
Local
states
government
and
is
city
not
government.
constitutional law. Do you
Listen, understand
that? Local government is not
The
constitutional
local
law.
government law was empowered by the Constitution. Our thing is we want a republic. You said you don't understand which republic we have. There are many different types of republic. Haiti is a republic, but America is a republic. There are different types of republic. We are going to have a republic government. And like I said, if you want, you can take the time, bring me on the show. I can explain exactly what we are thinking, how it works, or you can just go to our website and the information is right there. It's been there from 2021. So you can understand exactly what we're doing with island states and city government and how we're going to do it. The fact of the matter is our country isn't working. So as good as our Constitution is, our country isn't working.
But Brother Bain,
our country is failing.
Brother Bain,
because of
okay, just
leadership,
stop a
not
moment.
the
I think Brother
Constitution.
Cartwright wants to say something. Cartwright,
Go ahead.
please.
Do you know what Article 68 says in the Bahamas Constitution?
Article 68?
Yes.
Of course I do.
What does it say, sir?
Do you want me to read it to you?
Yeah, just paragraph,
No, just
basically. Paraphrase it.
Article 68 of the Constitution, I'll read it to you. It says the Bahamas shall be divided into 38 constituencies or such greater number as may be provided by or ordered by the Governor General. So it's talking about the constituencies.
Now, why I asked you that question, right? I've asked this question to many. I just started going around in Parliament. I've been around politics since 73. And most of these things, why I asked you this, right? You're one of the few people, you're not even in Parliament. I've asked this question, and most members, past and present, couldn't tell me what that article says. Who sat in Parliament? I've had members said to me, Article 54, he never heard of it. And so why I'm saying to you is this.
Article 54 deals with amendments.
Amendments.
The Constitution.
And that's amendments dealing mainly with most of the entrenched articles. And I tried to get them to understand that the other day, when Mr. Lewis came in and was talking about tabling the bill, and I heard a good friend of mine who sits in Parliament, who is a member of Parliament, said to me, he don't understand where he's going. So I said, did you understand Article 59? So he said to me, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Article 59. Read it. It tells you that any member of the House,
Yeah, can table a bill.
or
Article
the
59
Senate,
is about tabling a bill.
yes." I said, "It doesn't have to be." And he said, "Well, it ain't going nowhere." I said, "To you, it ain't going nowhere. But if you explore, if it's tabled and explained where people could now, the electorates could understand, hey, whoa, this sounds like this is a good thing for us." That's the whole idea. And I said, what I would like to see, and hopefully that this opened the door for more. And I said, not only members on the opposition side, it means that any member from the Senate or the Parliament, it means that if you as a sitting member in the Parliament on the government side and you have an idea that you could craft into a bill to be betterment for the people of the bill,
you could bring it forward.
Bring it. Don't just sit down and say, "Well, when he cabinet ministers," and see, this is why I try to tell people is that with this article here, Article 68 is a powerful article because here's what I tell people. When you look at 39, which deals with the Senate and how we go about it, we could basically do slight amendments that have been incorporated and strengthen this Constitution. What we need is, and I always tell people this, we don't need we got parties. The problem we have, we don't have many parliamentarians. That's our big problem. Because a lot of the people who, when they get elected, forget that once they get elected, they are not a party affiliate. They are parliamentarian because everyone in that constituency you represent didn't vote for you, but their job is to represent all of them.
All of them, yes. That's correct.
You get where I'm coming from? And so when I try to tell,
I just want to say this. I understand what you're saying. Now that you can see by our little conversation, I'm well abreast of the Constitution. All right, I did extremely well in constitutional law. So the reason we did this bill is it's a lesson in civics for the Bahamian people because they're going to be watching.
Yes.
And now you have to debate this bill.
Yes.
And now it lets you know that we don't want to hear talk from people like Michael Pintar that when they get in power, they're going to table this bill or they're going to do that. We need to do it now. If the government wants to fight a bill that's for the people, let them fight it, but let the people see them fighting it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If Michael Pintar said this is a bill that he agrees with, this is what he would do if he get in power, then vote for it now.
Yes.
Simple as that. We're tired of the talk. And so we're taking action.
I agree with you, Mr. Ben, because I've always sat in Parliament for years, and I've always, when they go to breaks, I would pull a member of Parliament aside and I would question them and to get their input. And one of the things that I listened to, because I was telling your deputy one time on another show, I said, we keep hearing this false narrative that from the Parliament that people say that, we can't do nothing. I say, that's not true.
That's not true, yes.
The Constitution allows you to come and table debate and debate it.
Of course.
And if you don't bring it to the Parliament, either from the Senate or the House, then that ain't nobody fault but yours.
But yours,
because all you telling me, you hoping.
You hoping.
I am tired of building my life around hope. Only thing I hope for is the return of the good master. That's it.
Yeah, that's
so
all these
policies
I appreciate it.
Our policies are not focused on talk anymore.
No, I appreciate
also
it.
Based on action, and that's the difference between our organization and every other organization. We didn't just talk about policies for immigration. We went out there and showed the people the shanty downs. We went out there and fought for Bahamians who've been abused by illegal immigrants. We went out there and forced the government hand to do something. We are out there taking action. So we are abreast of the law. We know what the laws are. We have very educated persons. They might not be known names that have been in politics failing us for a lot of years. But these are educated persons with doctor's degrees, master's degrees, et cetera, lawyers, accountants, CPAs that we have put forward. And so, like I said, if you want to understand our immigration policy, our island states policy or whatever, I can come on your show. I'll talk to Michelle White and see if she will allow me to come on the show. And I can break all of these things down so you can better understand it.
Well, Mr. Ben, I've always told people that I'm not a politician. I'm just a person who is enthusiastic about this Constitution because.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always had
your salvation document
and stuff. Like I always said that I was remember that I spoke with Ms. Allison Mena and she said, the Constitution of the Bahamas is your citizenship Bible. But I have one of my other co-hosts, Mr. Hyler, would like to say a few words to you.
Okay, of course.
So I'll let him speak. Go ahead, Brother Hyler.
No, actually, I was indicating that I wanted to address one or two other matters but you can't take anything away from Mr. Bain and his team in terms
No.
of, like he said, taking action. So whether persons are well versed in the Constitution, it's just a matter of bringing them forward and letting them demonstrate in their prospective constituencies what they are aware of. So perhaps they're doing that. Whether they engage global or not, everybody can see how that goes going forward. But you have to commend the activism on the ground, the push on the ground, because people are just tired. That's all I want to say. That's what you're hearing everywhere, every corner.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
I just want to say one last thing so that people can understand. There are people who doubt our abilities and our knowledge, but I can tell you that the first bill we drafted for Bahamians to benefit from our Aragonite, I drafted that bill. Okay? They never knew that Bahamians would have that knowledge to be able to draft the bill. This bill that we just put forward, I drafted that bill. Okay? As a Bahamian citizen. Now, most of our members of parliament don't know how to draft bills because the office of the Attorney General drafts bills for them. Yes. And they just present it. They just come up with ideas. But we have talented Bahamians on our team who are capable and ready to run this country from day one. That's why the first thing we did was not rhetoric. We put out a plan for everyone to see and edit and change up so that we can present a final plan to the Bahamian people. We are starting from a plan. And so that plan is based on not only the Constitution, but where we need to be, because there's some areas of our Constitution that were crafted in such a way that it needs to be fixed or modified so that there's no question moving forward. All right?
Yes, I agree, because I spoke with Mr. Lewis a long time ago when he served in the former administration. And I told him, I said, I give him an idea of something that I had written. And I said to him, I said, listen, every year we cannot believe or think that we might not have a hurricane. And I said to him, I said, speak to your colleagues back then and see if they're interested in creating a national disaster fund. And I said, just to get the feel for it. Me and him had a long talk over, and he said, man, I like this idea. And the only problem I had was that I spoke to some of his former colleagues, and they said, hey, man, we hear him talk about it, but it is not a priority until we get reelected. And I keep saying, you're big, and I get frustrated when I hear parliamentarians like to talk about when we get reelected. But I would like to sit down one day and speak to you about that, because me and him had a long conversation.
No problem.
On that.
Okay. Well, Brother
and
Bain,
I wish I had time here to explain Republic, but I'll do so just for you guys on my show on Sunday at 5 o'clock on my live. To explain what is the Republic and how we plan on doing it and the way we're going to get this done. All right?
Yeah, man.
All right, so, well,
good question for you to call, man.
Thank
Great to call.
you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for your contribution. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yes, and see, this is where I've learned, and I try to get members of not only the public, but the political setting. And see, this here is a show where when you call in, you can explain yourself.
Yes, that's right.
And that is one great thing. So I was appreciative that when you could ask questions on the Constitution to someone who wants to be in Parliament.
Exactly.
That they can explain themselves.
I believe we have another caller on.
We do have another caller.
Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Professor.
Hey, what's happening?
Good afternoon, Cartwright.
Yes, sir. How goes it, my boy? Been busy.
Good day.
Good afternoon, Hyla.
Yes.
You know, the great Einstein once said, if a people or a person continue to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, you know what that is called? Insanity.
Yes, it is.
If you expect a different result, you must do something different. Everybody on that show knows we've been in this mess for almost 53 years. The two parties have done just as much damage to the Bahamian people by promising what you're trying to accuse Mr. Bain of, and he ain't there yet, or anybody else who come to offer for this country has been doing it for 53, you might as well say, years to the Bahamian people. And we still caping for them at this point. Well,
Brave Davis knows the Constitution.
I doubt
They
it.
know right from wrong, like Mr. Bain say.
I doubt it.
Ministers know the Constitution.
I doubt it.
Yeah, but they're not
know the
following it. If you're
No,
not
they don't.
knowing it and not following it are two different things entirely, caller.
Yeah,
But
I
caller-
want to drive my point. I coming off this phone right now.
Yeah.
All of them know. Mr. Bain knows the
No,
Constitution.
they don't know. Not all of them.
But this
Not all of them.
country
Not all of them, caller.
in trouble.
Not all of them.
They're talking about 3 flights a week to this country, and all the radio shows just about speaking of language. I can't understand. I'm disadvantaged in my own country.
Yeah.
But I can tell you one difference between Mr. Lincoln Bain and all 5 of them are the Prime Minister. One, and that is all I need to know. That is Mr. Lincoln Bain is a true, for the first time, Bahamian. True. The rest of them out of 5 was mixed. Now, I'm not saying that some of them didn't do good for this country. I'm not saying that. But if Mr. Bain will mess up his own true Bahamas, then that's on him. But that's all I need to know, whether you know the Constitution or not, that for finally the Bahamian people are tired and we need to put one of us in that House of Assembly. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay, all right. I think. Go ahead with it,
I think what is happening in this country is that we look at personalities.
Yeah,
I appreciate the one thing I can say about Mr. Bain. For someone who is aspiring to become into Parliament, he has basically put himself in position to know. And I told you don't need to know the whole Constitution, but have some semblance about it.
Yeah.
And I give him credit for that because I've seen what they've done in the short time, but right now with them having to present a bill, which I'm still trying to get other members of the Parliament to understand that you don't need to wait.
Right. Yeah.
And they all are like, they're shocked. You know?
Yeah, okay. I think we're going to have to come to close now because
it was a good show,
my
man.
producer's playing the music, so I got to do it to stop. This is Professor Sidney McGarr, Walter Thompson, Bahamian. Thank you very much for listening and participating. Please have a pleasant weekend. Let's pray to God and ask Him to guide the Bahamas. Of course, Monday is Constitution Day. That's when I can talk. This is Professor Sidney McGarr, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.